Hey Ines, how you been?
Good morning, Thor. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, I'm fine. So good to you.
So,
Amazingly good to see you.
yeah, so good to see you too. The weather this week is so weird, isn't it? It's been like
Yeah.
a couple of days of baking heat, and now it looks like it's quite cloudy outside.
Also looks as if it's going to rain.
Yeah, it has already rained where I
Oh,
am.
okay.
So, yeah, it's definitely raining today, which,
All of 10 miles away.
yeah. So there probably will be rain at your place as well, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good to see you. Really, really is.
Mm.
And I think I mentioned just before we started, I saw the end of Anne Boleyn. And blah blah blah. That we all know the history of it, and it was unfair that she was beheaded because she couldn't produce a male heir, of course. But I know this, and you know this, and a lot of people who are hanging in on us know this. It's not. It's the journey that's important. How do we deal with injustice like that? The woman was in her prime. She had no illnesses. She'd produced a beautiful child who became the most powerful queen of England in the future. And, all of a sudden she was ganged up on, and she had no choice, even as a queen. Her hands were totally tied, literally.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we may not go to the execution, but it certainly feels like it sometimes. At
Mm.
work or in relationships, you don't know, God, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you give me an idea? I would have changed or something.
Mm.
It's but what also came to mind, of course, in our modern society, we don't have dinosaurs chasing us or wild bears chasing us anymore, but we have um, our own welfare chasing us because we have to pay bills. Um, which means other people did too. If you go back, they were serfs or whatever, you paid a part of your crop and so on. Nothing's changed. We just call it tax now or
Yeah.
VAT. So it's still exactly the same.
Still
Um,
exactly the same.
but our life skills, we do have more power, but our life skills actually revolve an awful lot around our attitude of mind, thinking of this Anne Boleyn. I know it was dramatized and so on, but it's still an attitude of how we deal with life. Um, and the emotional response we have to our life actually and to the events in our life. As I mentioned, if you have a relationship, why didn't you say something? Does it have to come to a split up or seeing somebody else? Why are you dissatisfied? You should have let me know. But that also is the instigator very often of lifestyle choices that we make, which can harm and be very detrimental to our life. So that means we overreact. We might take on drink, drugs, overeating, you name it, self-harm. We might go, we may not even eat. All of those things are part of our life skills, which revolve around the attitude of our mind, which means how do we cope? What do you think, Thor?
Well, I think that is so fascinating, though, because it also, I suppose, in so many ways shows the limitations of our free will, right?
Yeah.
Because in so many ways, like we think in retrospect, we often think, oh, we should have communicated, or
Yeah.
we should have let them know, but actually, maybe we shouldn't have. And a part of our lesson is to go through those difficulties, and that perhaps shows the limitations of our free will, right?
I totally agree because everyone has guidance, even if you're not involved in spiritual link or anything like this. Everyone is guided. So the
Yeah.
person, as you rightly said, who didn't say, "Come on, I want to change this," they were also guided not to
Mm,
open their mouth.
mm. I
Um,
think there's something we can do. It's an interesting, I suppose is it pointless to look retrospectively? No, it's not pointless to, I suppose there's something about looking ahead, right? What can one do moving forward? I don't know, maybe that contradicts the idea of free will, but like
no.
if we think about, oh, we should have, actually we couldn't have done anything differently in that scenario, but maybe what one can do is when one looks forward and when one is in a similar situation next time, maybe we can do it differently.
Yeah, possibly. That's right. No, that's very true. A lot of times, individuals who are going through whatever it is, doesn't always have to be that dramatic, but we go to self-help books. Don't get me wrong. I don't, I don't say that it's not right. Every day I look at my horoscope. So how many my birth signs are there? Billions. Are we all going to do the same thing? No, of course not. It's just something. But these self-help books are think yourself skinny. Your mind can do this, and your mind can do this. Happy, wealthy. Whatever it happens to be. It's something to hang on to.
Yeah.
It also can only ever give us an idea of how that person managed to come up with those points of how to make yourself, whatever you're reading on, happy, or how to get a man, and so on and so forth. Or if they've interviewed other individuals, what they did. It's individual. It doesn't necessarily pertain to yourself.
Yeah.
So the self-help book, what I'm actually inching towards, we have it right here. It's the meditation.
Yeah. No, exactly. And what you said about the attitude of mind, right? And I think that's one thing that one can change or work on is your attitude, and you're sort of inkling towards meditation. I was with someone this week who's clearly struggling, and what a lot of people look for is quick fixes, right? And I think people aren't. I think patience is how long is a piece of string. But actually self-healing and self-improvement takes time, and one have to there's this sort of giving oneself time, but also putting in the effort. One sort of follows the other, right? You have to be patient with yourself and give yourself the time it takes to change. But at the same time, you also have to put in the effort.
What I think what you've also hit on is so relevant. Many individuals that have been in my groups, they come, and there's nothing wrong with it. Hop around from one type of meditation to the other. It's a bing and the bong. It's a music. It's not music. It's this or that, or just clear your mind. It's not the issue that one is better than the other. But if you think you not necessarily succeed, but if you like one method, stick to it. Because if you hop around, the brain doesn't know, God, what am I doing today?
Yeah.
This doesn't feel relaxing.
Yeah.
But I've also spoken when I spoke and asked people about, say, positive attitude with these life skills, which is a new name. It's incredible. There's one person that actually had, I don't know if I told you this, Thor. They had an amazing book. I don't know what it was. And that book had quotes for every situation in life. And this is what they thumbed through. Even if it was a normal, ordinary day, they thumbed through some sort of a quote that they held on to for that particular day. And of course, another one, just to name two of them, is that a lot of people feel that somebody that they have known and been close to still watching over them. So that is also helps the life skills, the emotional upheaval, and the mind flow.
Yeah.
But not go down that rabbit hole necessarily.
Yeah. So it's like holding on to positive affirmations, right? Because that's what the quote is like a positive affirmation to sort of just slot into the mind for that day.
Yeah. But I also like what you do, Thor, and totally respect you for it. I appreciate it's also part of a personality, but you also like your own company.
Yeah.
Life skills, it doesn't mean you have to be a hermit, but a life skill is also, your ability to enjoy your own company. If you go on in any sort of the media, full stop, blanket statement, you have to do this. You have to be active. If you have children, they have activities from morning, noon, and night, back to back to back, a quick lunch, this, you have to be active. You have to socialize. You have to interact. You have to, whatever, what is it when you go, what is it when you're socializing?
Networking?
Yeah, networking. That's it, that long word. So when you're networking, everybody has to network on this and that and everything else. It puts an awful lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even have time to do anything but that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly that as well, right? And I think this takes us back to the notion of time. And I was writing this piece yesterday, which I was like slightly facetious. It was more like me just sort of thinking out my own thoughts.
Oh, good.
But I wrote this sentence, which was something such as, people should spend twice the amount doing anxiety decreasing activities as they do anxiety inducing activities.
Yes. Yes.
Because we probably needed twice the amount of time to get back to baseline.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's also to be comfortable with our own thoughts, which means perhaps going down the rabbit hole.
Mm.
But sometimes, I'm not saying this is the right thing to do. Sometimes, as you just said, write down some bullet points. I don't like this, but even if it hurts, let's say the person says, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I act. Do something about it. I don't like where I am. See if it is possible somehow to change it, not from 1 minute to the next, but what are the options? What road can you go into? That's and also maybe appreciate. We said before we began, yeah, hot and boily. Today's going to rain, but it's nice.
Yeah.
I like it, and
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
your own company, so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. I was listening to, I came across this podcast. So there's this man who's called, I can't remember his name. I can never pronounce, but like Alan, he runs this thing called the School of Life.
Oh yeah.
And he said that like, well, and you know, I've talked about loneliness quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think the cure to loneliness is to be with other people, but actually the cure to loneliness is to be fine at being by yourself.
That's right. Yeah,
You
I totally agree.
that is
I
the
totally
that
agree.
is
Yeah.
the cure to loneliness, is to be able to be with yourself in your own time. And I mean, obviously a lot of people struggle with like severe mental health issues and they need help, but actually on like a day-to-day basis, being fine to be on your own is
Yes.
actually the cure to loneliness.
It is, and all these individuals you mentioned, that individual, but also other religious, well-known religious gurus, they all spend a lot of time on their own, a huge amount of time, and then people, oh God, you're wise. Yeah, they take an awful lot of trouble to think about it. And to think, if you want to become a Buddhist, now this is again a big blank statement. La 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 la, you have a nice robe on. It's not as simple as that. Because if, say, you go through the points of meditation, your teacher at a particular point asks you, so why do you want to meditate? Oh, because I want to relax my mind. No. And you spend learning why you want to meditate for about 5 years. And then just maybe you move on to something else, so that you're learning patience, and you're also learning to delve deep into your own, why am I doing this? Not only that, are you cut out for that sort of a secular life, or are you doing this because you saw it on TV? Or is this really what you want? I mean, it's soul searching, isn't it?
It's real. I mean, it's soul searching at the deepest level. Yeah. And be comfortable with that soul searching, because it can also be painful,
Very painful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking about it being painful, I think we should also try very hard just to appreciate ourselves as well. That somewhere along the line, we've been given our little package of individuality, because it's a struggle, and we have to deal with it. Our little bag.
Yeah. I wrote this sentence a couple of weeks ago, which was something such as like, each life is a lesson, and how we navigate that lesson is our free will. Does that resonate with you?
Sort of.
Go on.
The free will, this is where, I'm not saying you're wrong, this is where even the guides have a big question mark.
Yeah.
They're not sure if it's free will, because what overrides the guides, say we are guided to this, that, and the other, maybe a bit, but they're also like us. They may not have a body, but they're still physical until they reach over to the barrier. Then nobody really knows what happens, but you're da. There's no communication. So the overriding force is also able to take over.
Yeah.
It's not the guides. The guides guide the physical.
Yeah.
I've done this before. Come on, let's get going. But that which controls, no emotional content.
Yeah.
What I
Yeah.
left out last week was that we're actually, our spirit, which is around us, is a parasite. Nice word.
Nice word. Yeah.
It only feeds off of our experiences, nothing else.
Can we come up with a better word than parasite to make it
That's
sound?
what they gave me. Yeah, I
Oh
know.
no.
I know. And
Oh God. And actually, in so many ways, I slightly agree with my own phrase about free will, because I actually, in some
yeah,
way, think that free will is just an illusion. I think
yeah,
I think we're programmed to think that we have free will, but at the end of
exactly.
the day, it's probably like 1% of free will or something like
Yeah,
that. Probably not even that. Who knows, right?
exactly. Who knows? But I mentioned this before, but I know on other planets, and it won't be Mars or Jupiter, nothing close at hand, but they have so much free will. Can you imagine the mess
Mm,
for the free will of changing your mind constantly?
mm,
I don't know if I'd like that.
mm. Yeah, I mean, our mind is quite a lot changing now, right? And we don't have
Yes,
much free will. Our thoughts just like come in from all over the place. It's like, yeah,
it
imagine.
does. But also, I mean, we have the ability, the mind is very, very strong. We do have the ability to change bad habits. And by bad habits, I'm not just talking about alcohol abuse, physical abuse, or smoking, whatever it is. But it's sometimes, for whatever reason, we have a fixed state of mind, depression. I'm going to wake up with that. But that combined with anxiety, I mean, it's an open sesame for many of the illnesses that we have, modern day illnesses. As I said,
Mm,
we're not chased by dinosaurs or anything, but anxiety, the
mm,
need to achieve, to produce, to show what we have, on this planet, which means our life is a success.
yeah.
Forget that the other person who doesn't have a bean is the happiest little person on the whole planet. Um, but because the mind is a calm instrument, of course, surprise, surprise, that in itself, if we stick to the meditation, sometimes you mentioned that chap that you said is struggling. I'm wondering, what I do know, I believe you also use music, don't you?
Mm,
I do it as well. But I was told once that some individuals need, let's say, rap. Bum, bum, bum.
mm,
That music may not be conducive, or the individual does not need music for that type of mind, all manner of things, to find out exactly,
mm, mm,
what makes them tick, to find that
mm,
sweet spot of peace,
mm. But I
that
think,
they feel like doing it.
yeah, and I think that's the beauty though, because obviously you and I, we have a very similar approach, because you taught it to me
Yeah.
and it resonates with who and what I am. But I think it takes us back to that phrase of time and people giving themselves the time to figure out what works for them,
Yes.
what makes them calm and what makes them still, basically. So like, for example, this person, there's such a thing called box breathing, basically. So you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out for 4 seconds, and so it becomes like a box, basically.
Okay.
And this person was talking about that, and she was like, Tor, I hate it.
Yeah.
I really, really hate it. Well, other people love it, right? So it's an interesting thing of figuring out what works for you as a person.
Absolutely. Well, I was asked to teach breathing meditation as well. I stepped back from it,
Mm,
only because of our country, and a lot of times we have asthma, we have snuffles. So if you're supposed to breathe through your nose and there's nothing but mucus,
yeah,
we're not in a warm country where you don't have those problems. So
yeah,
I stayed away from that basically because of our climate.
yeah.
It's too limiting.
Yeah, yeah, no, very good point. Yeah, no, very,
Yeah.
very.
But actually, meditation is even if it's just for a second, it's the effort. I'm going to do this because Thor has told me to do this, and I'm just going to give it a try. Oh, so boring, but I'm going to do it. By just doing it and making yourself do it, that person has already achieved something. It's the very first step, because meditation is like a set of scales. If
Mm,
our emotions go this way, that way, blah, 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 it calms it. It's able to actually, literally just calm things. It's like I mentioned before, like brushing our teeth. It
yeah.
has to be a ritual. It's
Mm,
a preventative situation. It doesn't mean we won't get sad, we won't get depressed, we won't get anxious, but it's to what degree?
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. And I think I just think it's like essential to make it a habit,
That's
right?
right.
Make it a habit, like, because I think you were talking about moving down a rabbit hole
Hmm.
a bit further back into the meditation and or into this podcast. And one way to, like, because humans, we seemingly, our mind goes in cycles, right? Like
Yeah,
circles itself around and
right.
around and around. And I think what the meditation can do really brilliantly is it can it can just put something into the spoke, and just be
That's
like, try and break the cycle that you're
yeah,
in.
exactly. Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
very good analogy.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I think
It
that
is.
works really well. And I don't think people realize that.
No, it then takes on a different perspective.
Yeah.
I told you that I had this and this and this was going wrong, and I tend to be the type of person who I calm down again, but I sort of not explode, but I get to a high.
Yeah.
And then okay, I vented, and then I can think about it. But
Yeah.
it's again that little bit of just take a second,
Yeah.
step back, and things look different.
Yeah.
And it's a different perspective in life. It is a matter of mind over matter. Sticks and stones can hurt our bones, but words can never harm us.
Mm.
And what we're doing to ourselves very often is literally, oh, anxiety, I'm going to worry about this even before it's happened. You
Yeah.
think maybe you're going to lose your job. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe in a month. Why not look around?
Mm.
Maybe even for career change. And I say that, I don't say that glibly whatsoever, because as you know, when Owen passed away, God, what do I do? I didn't want to take a degree. I don't have that sort of interest, if you like. I went into a care home. Well, what it gives you is a stability. You're with other people. It gives you some worth, but also it opens the door if you are still at that age group where you want to do something different. You can actually get a very nice career out of that.
Yeah.
Because there are places where you can go from let us say from one area of care to another area and become senior and so on and so forth, which becomes rewarding. All I'm saying is they take people off the street. You don't have to have and you have to have an empathy and a compassion, of course, and you have to want to do something.
Mm.
So there is that. You don't have to necessarily go to a job to a job center. They're advertising, yes, online, but just look around. They stick them on there. They need people.
Yeah.
But also, I think exactly what you said too. We've already said a different way. Accept what the hell we are. I mean, before, when we turn on the video thing, what do I do? I fluff up my hair. I'm still fluffing up my hair. Hun, a big mirror, great. That works. That's right. Accept what you are. I can't be someone else. And I think last week I said, if we try to be somebody else, say a film star, or try to be whatever, or how somebody looks, whatever, we're wasting so much time. We cannot be somebody else.
Mm.
We're absolutely jeopardizing our own happiness.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like you're creating resistance, right?
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that resistance probably most likely generates unhappiness if you try to be someone that you're just not. If you
Exactly. It creates stress as well. You're
Yeah.
trying to do whatever. I sometimes watch the program called Botched. These are this is about plastic surgery.
Oh yeah.
Botched, obviously when it's been botched, haven't got quite right. Oh, it's not always that. People want bigger boobs, bigger lips, whatever it happens to be. And there are a number of people who want to be such as, another sort of well-known individual, but they even chisel away bones. It's not just you had a bad accident and you need a bit of plastic surgery or something. It's just incredible what people try to do. And of course, it's stressful.
Mm.
It's actually stressful to be something else. But by
Yeah.
having just a bit of a different attitude, I know we've both said this, it releases a happy hormone. And I think the happy hormone is a pat on the back saying, good for you. You're getting out of this little rut. You put the little spanner in. Yes, you're not going to go down the rabbit hole. And I think that's a happy hormone.
Yeah, I think that's a happy hormone as well. And I mean, I think it's an interesting. I'm cycling back to something that you said earlier, sort of, which is this fear. You didn't necessarily say fear of failure, but you sort of alluded to a slight fear of failure, like, oh, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen.
Yeah,
And it's interesting.
yeah,
Most of the time, our fear of failure is quite not as big as we imagine it to be, because you mentioned dinosaurs a couple of times, you
yeah.
know. And if you are
The
a human,
meat eater, not the meat. Yeah, the meat eaters, not the
yeah, I
carnivore.
mean,
Yeah,
when
the
we were sort
carnivores,
of
not the herbivore.
cave people,
Yeah,
failure could lead to death. It was
yeah,
quite,
yeah,
whilst
yeah,
today, it's not, your boss might get angry at you, but that's most likely about it. You know,
yeah.
if you fail a
Exactly.
presentation, for example, or something like that. So I think people have like this, I think people sort of creates
Of course we
storm in a
do.
teacup.
Oh, absolutely. And if your work situation is that bad, as I've just said, look for somewhere else.
Mm,
And look, don't always look high up that I can be called this or that, and the paycheck is X amount of Ks. You might find that starting somewhere else may not have the same, but look at your budget. But it may prove very beneficial, rewarding, and permanent, that you actually they want you,
mm.
which makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, it makes a huge, I agree, it makes a huge difference.
But the pandemic actually, as we know, it was an immense situation. It hasn't finished anyway, but always uh, we always have a purpose in life. There's always some purpose that we're working towards. However, in life, we cannot only have one purpose. If we only had one goal or one purpose in life, then we might not reach it until, say, the end of our lifetime on now, which means in between, possibly, there would be wasted time. And in the spiritual world, time is money, literally. Life is very precious. The most we can ever give the power of spirit or your God is time. And that's the time to contemplate, the time to meditate, to the mind to reflect. All of those things is what we can give. Not necessarily coins or something, go to charity or whatever. But so everything changes in life. So the path of life is literally manipulated so that there is change. Big manipulation. What's happened the pandemic, the world, we have to change. Change, alterations, and directions in life. And that also includes the guides. Now we have a main guide, but as these changes occur and new forms of motivation are put into place, we also have additional guides coming in as well.
Mm.
So whoever you have now, apart from your main guide, Thor, you might be surprised you feel the presence of something else, someone else. Life is like that. There's hope, there's expectancy, and that's called motivation. If we don't have motivation, we might stop liking life. A lot of people don't like life. I don't always like life. But what is the alternative? There is no alternative because we need to learn. We have to go through it. There is no option.
Yeah, I
But once
mean,
we go through that and turn the page of life, you might find something really, really worthwhile out
yeah,
of a very interesting corner.
yeah, I mean, the alternative is death.
It death.
And I mean, I still want to be around for a little while longer, you know?
Yeah, yeah. But just say death is it's an occurrence. It's a natural meaning that we've done our job. Out you go, and that applies to all age groups.
Yeah,
Very young children, elderly people, whatever it is. We each have a time, and then then that's it.
and that's it.
Yeah, that's right. But then, of course, there's a possibility, which is the birthright, as I mentioned last week, of every creature, every living creature that has a spirit attached to it, is the reincarnation situation.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but anyway, maybe we need to learn to be patient, which I can certainly take on. Be
Me
patient,
too.
have patience, learn to be patient. But at the end of the day, everything has a purpose.
Everything has a purpose.
Yeah,
I
and
totally agree.
I come back to the pandemic and how many people are really say getting new jobs. I don't know. when we're told find a new career, that's not that easy. Unless you have a really big career, such as, say, being in the medical profession. Even, say, if we go solicitors, lawyers, and whatnot, they've also been hit by the pandemic. In the conveyancing area, that's houses, and so on.
Mm.
So we've all been hit right across the board, actually.
Yeah, yeah. So to start winding down the podcast for this week, what's the positive message?
Okay. When we love, everything makes more sense. And that love is a big one. Love yourself. If we don't love ourselves just a bit, we can't love anybody else either.
Yeah,
We don't appreciate it. That's where love thy neighbor comes from.
yeah,
We have to love ourselves first, though.
yeah.
Accepting exactly who we are.
Yeah, that's a great message, Ines. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you for listening, everyone. And, we always welcome questions, comments, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
And we will be back here again next week.
Brilliant.
All right.
Super, super duper. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.